The rain hammered against the pavement like bullets as Aiden Moretti pressed his back against the brick wall, gun drawn, eyes locked on the figure stumbling through the alley 30 feet away. His target, his mission, his father's orders echoing in his skull like a death sentence. Find the girl. Make her disappear. No witnesses. No mercy. Aiden's finger hovered over the trigger, his breath steady despite the chaos erupting behind him. Sirens wailing, footsteps pounding, someone screaming his name. But he couldn't move, couldn't shoot, because the woman in his sights wasn't running from him anymore. She had stopped, turned around, and was staring directly at him with those impossibly dark eyes that had haunted him for 3 weeks straight. "Do it!" Zara Bennett shouted over the storm, her voice cracking with fury and heartbreak. "That's what you came here for, isn't it?" Aiden's hand trembled. For the first time in his 28 years, the weapon felt foreign in his grip. This is more than a story. It's a journey into the cost of truth and the power of love. Subscribe now and join us as we uncover whether redemption is possible for those born into darkness. Hit that notification bell. You won't want to miss a single moment. Zara Bennett was 21 years old, a journalism major with fire in her eyes and justice in her heart. She had just published her first major expose, a detailed investigation into the Moretti Foundation, exposing the charity as a front for money laundering and organized crime. The article had gone viral overnight, shared thousands of times, praised by activists and journalists across the country. She thought she'd changed the world. But little did she know, she had just poked the lion, and the lion was about to tear her apart. Aiden sat across from his father in the mahogany-paneled office that smelled of cigars and old money. Don Enzo Moretti was a man carved from stone, cold, precise, and utterly unmoved by human emotion. He slid a manila folder across the desk without ceremony. "This is your assignment," the Don said, his voice like gravel scraping against iron. "A nobody, a college girl who thinks she's a crusader." Aiden opened the folder. Inside was a photograph of a young black woman with natural curls framing her face, warm brown skin, and a smile that seemed to light up the entire frame. She looked innocent, happy, alive. Zara Bennett, his father continued, 21 years old, journalism major at Metropolitan University. She published an expose on the Moretti Foundation 3 days ago. It's spreading like wildfire. She's making us look like criminals. "We are criminals," Aiden said flatly. The Don's eyes narrowed. "We are businessmen. There's a difference." She doesn't understand that difference, and now she's become a problem. "What do you want me to do?" "What you always do. Watch her. Find her routine. And when the moment is right." His father made a simple gesture, fingers pointing like a gun, thumb dropping like a hammer. "Silence her." Aiden nodded, his face betraying nothing. "Consider it done." But as he left the office, Zara's photograph still clutched in his hand, something twisted in his chest, something unfamiliar, something dangerous. The campus library was busy when Aiden first saw her in person. She sat at a corner table, laptop open, fingers flying across the keyboard with the kind of intensity that made the world around her disappear. She wore a simple yellow sweater and jeans, her hair pulled back in a loose bun, a pencil tucked behind her ear. Aiden watched from behind a row of bookshelves, pretending to browse. She was smaller than he'd imagined, more delicate, but there was steel in her posture, determination in every keystroke. She was writing another article, probably another hit piece that would make his father's blood pressure spike. "Excuse me," a voice said beside him. Aiden turned to find an elderly librarian smiling up at him. "Can I help you find something?" "Just looking," he said smoothly, offering a charming smile that had gotten him out of countless tight spots. "Thank you." When he looked back at Zara's table, she was staring directly at him. Their eyes met for exactly 3 seconds. Aiden's heart did something strange. It stumbled, like missing a step on a staircase. Then Zara looked away, shaking her head slightly, as if dismissing whatever thought had crossed her mind. Aiden left the library quickly, his pulse racing in a way that had nothing to do with danger. Over the next 5 days, Aiden became Zara's shadow. He learned her routine with the precision of a predator. Morning coffee at the Grind Cafe, classes until noon, afternoon spent either in the library or the student newspaper office, and evenings walking through downtown, sometimes alone, sometimes with friends. She always took the same route home, past the bus stop where an older homeless man named Marcus waited with a cardboard sign, past the corner store with a flickering neon sign, and up the steps to her third-floor apartment. On Tuesday, Aiden watched her stop at the bus stop and hand Marcus a wrapped sandwich and a bottle of water. They talked for 10 minutes, Marcus laughing at something she said, Zara's whole face lighting up with genuine warmth. On Wednesday, he followed her to a community meeting where she spoke passionately about affordable housing, her voice rising with conviction as she argued with city officials twice her age. On Thursday, he saw her cry alone in her car after a phone call with someone. Maybe her mother, judging by how she kept saying, "I'm fine, Mama, I promise." By Friday, Aiden realized he was no longer just watching her. He was seeing her, and that was a problem. The rain came down hard that Friday night as Zara walked home later than usual. Aiden followed at a distance, collar turned up, hands shoved in his pockets. She was singing softly to herself, something he couldn't quite hear over the downpour. And she stopped walking. She turned around slowly, deliberately, and locked eyes with him from across the rain-soaked street. "Why are you following me?" Zara called out, her voice sharp despite the tremor underneath. Aiden froze. He'd been careful, professional. How had she? "I've seen you," she continued, taking a step toward him. "At the library, outside the cafe, near my apartment. So either you're the world's worst stalker, or you're something worse. Which is it?" Aiden's mind raced through exit strategies, cover stories, ways to disappear. But instead, he found himself walking toward her, closing the distance until they stood face to face on the empty sidewalk. "My name is Aiden," he said, the lie forming smoothly. "I'm a private security consultant. Your article made a lot of powerful people angry. Someone hired me to keep an eye on you. Make sure you're safe." Zara's eyes narrowed. "I don't need protection. That article you published, the one about the Moretti Foundation, it exposed some very dangerous people. Trust me, you need protection whether you want it or not." "Who hired you?" "I can't tell you that." "Then how do I know you're not one of the people trying to hurt me?" Aiden met her gaze, something raw and honest breaking through his carefully constructed mask. "Because if I wanted to hurt you, you'd already be dead." The words hung between them like a knife. Zara's breath caught, but she didn't back away. Instead, she studied his face with those impossibly perceptive eyes, searching for truth in a world full of lies. "Prove it," she finally said. "Prove you're here to protect me." "Ow!" "Stay close. If something happens, you stop it. If nothing happens, then maybe I'll believe you." Aiden knew this was wrong, knew he was crossing lines that couldn't be uncrossed. But he heard himself say, "Okay." The next 2 weeks were the strangest of Aiden's life. He became Zara's unofficial bodyguard, always nearby, but never intrusive. She tested him constantly, asking questions about his background. He lied, his training, he deflected, his motivations, he changed the subject. But slowly, cautiously, she began to trust him. They talked. God, they talked about everything. Politics and poetry, justice and mercy. Her dreams of becoming an investigative journalist who changed the world. His carefully edited childhood that omitted every dark truth. "Why do you care so much?" Aiden asked one afternoon as they sat in the cafe, watching rain streak down the windows. "About the truth, I mean. Most people would rather stay comfortable." Zara stirred her coffee thoughtfully. "My father was a whistleblower. He exposed corruption in the police department where he worked. They fired him, blacklisted him, made sure he never worked in law enforcement again. He died when I was 16, heart attack brought on by stress and depression." Her voice cracked slightly. The truth cost him everything. But he said it was worth it because silence is just another word for complicity. "I guess I'm just trying to make his sacrifice mean something." Aiden felt something crack inside his chest. "I'm sorry." "Don't be. He was a hero. And someday, I'm going to be one too." She smiled then, brilliant and unguarded. "Even if it kills me." The words felt like prophecy, like warning, like goodbye. Aiden knew he was in trouble when he started looking forward to seeing her smile, where her laugh became the best sound in his world. When he caught himself memorizing the way she bit her lip when she concentrated, the way she gestured wildly when she got excited, the way she said his name like it meant something good. He was falling for his target. And that was the most dangerous thing he'd ever done. His phone buzzed constantly with messages from his father. Status update. When will the job be finished? Don't make me send someone else. Asterisk. Aiden ignored them all. The night everything shattered started like any other. Aiden walked Zara home after a late study session, their conversation easy and warm. She stopped at her apartment door and turned to face him. I don't know what I'd do without you, she said softly. I feel safe when you're around. That's not something I'm used to feeling. Aiden's heart hammered against his ribs. Zara, but before he could finish, glass exploded from her apartment window. Aiden's instincts kicked in instantly. He grabbed Zara, pulling her down as gunfire erupted from inside. 3 shots. Professional. Silenced. Stay down, Aiden shouted, drawing his own weapon in one fluid motion. He kicked open the door and moved through her apartment like smoke, silent, efficient, deadly. The hitman was in her bedroom, a professional cleaner sent to finish what Aiden had failed to do. The man turned, gun rising, but Aiden was faster. 2 shots. Center mass. The hitman collapsed. Aiden stood over the body, chest heaving, as Zara appeared in the doorway. Her eyes went wide, taking in the scene. The dead man, the blood spreading across her floor, the gun in Aiden's hand that he'd fired without hesitation. What just happened? Her voice was barely a whisper. Aiden turned to face her, and in that moment, he knew the truth could no longer be delayed. Zara, I need to tell you something. Who was that man? A hitman. Why would? Her face went pale as understanding crashed over her. You knew someone was coming for me. Yes. Ow. Aiden's jaw clenched. Because I was supposed to be the one who killed you. The words hung in the air like poison. Zara stumbled backward, her hand flying to her mouth. What? My real name is Aiden Moretti. My father runs the crime family behind the foundation you exposed. 3 weeks ago, he gave me an assignment. Find you, watch you, and make you disappear. I was supposed to kill you, Zara. Tears streamed down her face. But you told me you were protecting me. I am protecting you. I have been from the beginning. I couldn't do it. I couldn't pull the trigger. Not on you. Why not? The question came out as a sob. Aiden's voice broke. Because somewhere between the library and the cafe and every conversation we've ever had, I fell in love with you. Zara's hand shot out, slapping him hard across the face. You don't get to say that. You don't get to follow me, lie to me, plan my murder, and then claim you love me. I know. God, Zara, I know. But it's the truth. I love you. And that's why I turned against everything I've ever known. That's why there's a dead man on your floor instead of you. You were supposed to protect me, she whispered, her voice trembling with betrayal. Not destroy me. Aiden dropped his gun to the floor. It clattered against the hardwood, loud in the suffocating silence. Then end it. Take the gun. Finish what I couldn't. Because I can't live with what I almost did to you. Zara stared at the weapon, her whole body shaking. For a long moment, neither of them moved. Then she turned and ran, out the door, down the stairs into the night. Aiden didn't follow. He just stood in her ruined apartment, surrounded by blood and broken promises, and let her go. Don Moretti's rage was biblical. Aiden stood in his father's office, chin raised, ready for whatever came next. You failed, the Don hissed. Worse, you betrayed your family for some nobody girl with a loud mouth and foolish ideals. She's not nobody, Aiden said quietly. She's a dead woman walking. I've already sent cleanup crews. By morning, the problem will be eliminated. Something snapped inside Aiden. Touch her, and I'll burn everything you've built to the ground. His father's face went purple with fury. You dare threaten me? I'm promising you. Call off your men, or I'll make sure every dirty secret, every crime, every murder you've ever ordered comes to light. I'll destroy the Moretti name myself. You're my son. I was your weapon. Aiden corrected. Now I'm choosing to be human instead. The Don's hand moved toward the desk drawer where he kept his gun, but Aiden was already gone, disappearing into the night with the knowledge that war had been declared. Aiden found Zara at the only place that made sense, Marcus's bus stop. She sat on the bench, crying, while the old homeless man held her hand and murmured words of comfort. He sent more men, Aiden said without preamble. They're coming for you tonight. Zara looked up, her face streaked with tears and anger. "Why should I believe anything you say?" "Because I'm giving you this." He pulled out a flash drive and held it toward her. "Everything's on here. Bank records, shell companies, murder contracts, video evidence, witness testimonies I've collected over the years. It's enough to destroy my father's empire completely. Take it to the authorities. Go public. End this." Zara stared at the drive like it was a bomb. "Why?" "Because you were right. The truth matters. Justice matters. And you deserve to live in the world you're trying to build." He pressed the drive into her palm. "Use it. Save yourself. Come with me," she pleaded. "We'll go to the police together. You can testify. They'll protect you." Aiden shook his head, a sad smile crossing his face. "They'll never stop hunting me. As long as I'm with you, you'll be in danger. But if you expose them, if you make their crimes public, you become too visible to touch. That's the only way I can keep you safe. I don't want safety if it means losing you." "You never had me to lose," Aiden said softly. "I was always borrowed time. But Zara, meeting you, knowing you, watching you fight for what's right, it made me believe that maybe people like me can still do something good. Even if it's just one thing. Even if it's just loving the right person." Marcus cleared his throat. "Boy's right, sweetheart. Sometimes the bravest thing is knowing when to let go." Tears poured down Zara's face as Aiden cupped her cheek gently. "Tell my story," he whispered. "Make them understand that monsters can still learn to be human." Their final kiss was desperate and bittersweet, full of love and regret and all the futures they'd never share. When they pulled apart, Aiden was already backing away. "If you ever need me," he said, "I'll find you. I'm always watching." Then he turned and walked into the darkness, leaving Zara holding the key to his father's destruction and his own redemption. 3 months later, the news coverage was relentless. Moretti crime empire exposed. Federal raids target Mafia foundation. Don Moretti vanishes amid corruption scandal. Zara's revelations had torn through the criminal underworld like a hurricane, leaving destruction and justice in equal measure. She published her book 3 months after that terrible night, The Silence That Spoke. It became an instant bestseller, a story about truth, courage, and the cost of redemption. About a young woman who refused to be silenced, and a killer who learned too late what it meant to be human. One quiet afternoon, Zara sat at her favorite cafe, working on an article for the Times. The waiter brought her coffee, black, 2 sugars, just how she liked it, and set it down with a smile. "This was already paid for," he said, "and someone left you this." He handed her a small, folded note. Zara's hands trembled as she opened it. Still watching, still protecting. "Hey!" Her breath caught. She looked up frantically, scanning the cafe. Every face, every shadow, every corner. But no one looked back. No one acknowledged her panic. Just the regular afternoon crowd, lost in their own worlds. Then she smelled it. That familiar cologne. Woody and subtle. The scent she'd memorized during those 2 weeks when she'd thought he was her protector instead of her executioner. Zara's eyes filled with tears, but this time they weren't from sadness. She smiled, small and private and full of hope, and returned to her laptop. Because somewhere out there, in the spaces between light and shadow, Aiden Moretti was keeping his promise. He was watching, he was protecting, and maybe, someday, when the world forgot and the danger passed, she'd feel his hand on her shoulder again. She'd hear his voice saying her name. She'd get one more chance to tell him that love didn't need permission to exist. It just needed 2 people brave enough to believe in it. "He came to silence me." Zara typed slowly, *L, but in the end, I became his voice. He thought he'd been sent to end my story, but all along, he was just a chapter in his own redemption. And redemption, I've learned, doesn't always look like salvation. Sometimes it looks like sacrifice. Sometimes it looks like a man walking away from everything he knows to give the woman he loves a chance at the life she deserves. Sometimes redemption is just choosing for once to do the right thing, even if it costs you everything. She saved the document, closed her laptop, and picked up the note. Pressing it against her heart, Zara whispered into the cafe's warm air, "I'm still listening." Somewhere, in the city's shadows, she hoped he heard her. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.